Should we start? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Slide change. Raz.
Good evening, everyone, distinguished guests, excellencies, colleagues, and partners. It's a long time coming, so thank you for waiting. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to today's session on the establishment and implementation of ANORA platform here at the Tashkent International Investment Forum. ANORA stands for Agri-food Investment Opportunities for Resilient Agriculture. My name is Samarkand. I am from the EBRD, and it is an honor to be moderating today's session. Let me begin by thanking the government of Uzbekistan, in particular the Ministry of Agriculture, for its leadership in advancing this initiative, as well as all our partners for their close collaboration in bringing us to this milestone event. Today's discussion is not just about another strategy or policy framework. In fact, the previous session on Nexus for Water, Food, and Energy gave a really good introduction to today's event. So perhaps if you've been in that previous session, you can kind of look at it together. This session is really about delivery, and specifically how to translate Uzbekistan's priorities, development priorities, and climate commitments into a coordinated set of actions, especially generating pipeline of investable projects in the agri-food sector, including mobilizing the private sector. As we all know, the sector sits at the core of Uzbekistan's economy, but it is also highly exposed to climate risks, resource constraints, and fragmentation in the financing and implementation. I think it's been well explained, the urgency of this topic. So this is precisely where ANORA comes in. The platform is designed as a country-led investment mechanism to align government priorities with partners and financing, including private financing, structure demand into bankable opportunities, and build local capacities, and ultimately scale investments where they're most needed on the ground. In that sense, ANORA is not just about mobilizing more finance. It is about mobilizing finance more effectively by improving coordination across the board, increasing visibility to this very important agenda, and accelerating scaling project preparation. Over the next session, we will hear high-level opening remarks from our distinguished speakers, introduce the ANORA platform and its objectives, and then move into a panel discussion focused on how to make this platform work in practice, including from the perspectives of the key stakeholders, the government, partners, and investors. We will conclude with the formal launch of the ANORA and the signing of a memorandum of understanding among partners. With that said, let me now turn to opening speakers. We have a bit of a change in order, so I would like to first invite, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Toivo Klar, Ambassador of European Union to the Republic of Uzbekistan, to share his opening remarks. Please.
Thank you very much. And it's an honor to be called on first here. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure to join you here at the Tashkent International Investment Forum, and in particular at this important event to mark the establishment of ANORA. Among international partners, there's a clear convergence on the top priorities for Uzbekistan's agri-food sector. Modernization and upgrading of value chains, climate resilience with water efficiency as a central concern, green and low carbon growth, and, not least important, a stronger integration of the private sector throughout the agri-food economy. This is no coincidence, as these priorities are also fully aligned with Uzbekistan's own strategy for agricultural development for 2020 to 2030, which seeks to liberalize the sector, enhance its sustainability, and at the same time contribute both to the country's food security and to export growth. The policy direction is set. The task now is to mobilize the investments and partnerships that can make it a reality. For the European Union, several elements are particularly important in this effort. We place strong emphasis on promoting sustainable agricultural practices that protect soil, water, and biodiversity, and that build resilience to climate change. We attach great importance to food safety and SPS governance or compliance, which are essential both for consumer protection and for accessing demanding export markets. And we see inclusive rural development as crucial. This means empowering smallholder farmers with better access to finance, technology, advisory services, and markets, while systematically removing the barriers that limit their productivity and profitability. Smallholders are, in fact, the backbone of Uzbek agriculture. They account for over 90 to 95% of the country's meat and milk production, around 85% of vegetables, and roughly 70% of all fruits. They are feeding the country and underpinning much of its agri-food export potential. And they are extremely productive in the way they use their land. The total value of crop output per hectare on Deccan or on household farms can reach around $3,000 per hectare, compared to only about $500 per hectare on large commercial farms. Yet these approximately 5 million smallholder families face significant constraints in accessing finance, technology, and markets. In this context, expanding access to rural finance is paramount if we are to offer them real prospects for the future. The challenge and the opportunity is twofold: to consolidate existing jobs and livelihoods in the sector, and to create new, decent opportunities for a rapidly growing and increasing young population. This is precisely where we see ANORA playing a significant role. We look to ANORA to help unlock the private sector's potential in agriculture, not only by attracting large investors, but by finding innovative ways to reach these smallholder farmers who are currently at the heart of food production and of exports. If ANORA succeeds in doing this, it can become a powerful driver of investment in climate resilience, resource efficient, and inclusive agri-food value chains. It can help accelerate the transition towards greener production, higher quality and safer food, and stronger linkages between Uzbek producers and regional and global markets, including those of the EU. I'm therefore confident that ANORA will serve as a robust platform to foster closer collaboration between the government of Uzbekistan, development partners, financial institutions, and the private sector, and will enhance our collective impact. The European Union stands ready to work with all of you to ensure that ANORA delivers on its ambition and contributes to a more resilient, sustainable, and prosperous future for Uzbekistan's agriculture and its rural communities. Thank you very much. Katarakat.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for those great remarks. Excellencies and distinguished guests, it is now my honor to invite Minister of Agriculture of Republic of Uzbekistan, Mr. Ibrahim Abdurrahmonov.
Dear colleagues, thank you very much for attending this afternoon, this session. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, just briefly, I would like to give some opinions, some highlights, so that then you discuss in panel discussions. Probably it's very useful, will be directions, and useful will be your suggestions that we take in our future reforms. Actually, this platform, ANORA, when we discussed with our EBRD colleagues in the ministry, several times, was always very convincing, very needful for our agriculture development. Not only probably this would be a model for all the countries around us, maybe in the world, but this is a very good initiative and funding opportunities because you know, agriculture worldwide facing big, huge problems. I would like to highlight, of course, food security is one big issue. All the countries thinking about the food security and seeking the solutions. But the three main problems we face, and it's here also in Uzbekistan. First, everybody says water, probably the climate. I would not say this. It's not the first problem. First problem is the microplastics. It's a huge issue because agriculture become very much connected with the plastic production and plastic mulching, saving any resources like water through this chemicalization, I would say. It's a huge problem. In Uzbekistan also, we're entering for like intensive agriculture using this chemicalization era, and this microplastics is a huge problem. Second, of course, problem is water, climate, resources. It's a huge problem. Third, in Uzbekistan, we do not see yet probably, but it's an issue. It's antibiotic resistance. This is a huge will be problem in the coming years, and it's in our agenda. ANORA, why I like it, because they are concentrated on all these issues, and they could solve, they could propose us solutions for this main problem, worldwide problem, but for Uzbekistan, because we're in the beginning, very start positions right now, we could do very clean agriculture. ANORA means very clean agriculture. Resource saving, climate, addressing climate issues, three pillars, through infrastructure development, human capital, so forth. So this is very huge, will be very important problem and a huge effort from all of us. And Uzbekistan, we're seeing Uzbekistan agriculture a little bit different. We're revising our agenda for next years. How? The big question for everybody, but thank you very much, Ambassador, for all the years of support from European Union. We adopted market-driven agriculture agenda. Right now, we accomplishing some results. But now we understood, because of these discussions and late development, we have to revise it, market-driven plus human-centered agriculture. So Uzbekistan will be market-driven plus human-centered agriculture. We probably apply all the innovations, but with the care of human heart, with the care of ethics, agricultural ethics, with the care of creativity, probably solutions, we'll seek for solutions, and imagination. Imagine what's going to happen tomorrow if you have ruin all the agricultural land. So ANORA, for me, targets this. This is huge initiative. So congratulations all of you. Next phase, we will work with you in new phase of agricultural development. Market-driven plus human-centered agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your leadership and those precious supportive words. So now it's time to introduce our Managing Director of EBRD from the Climate Strategy and Delivery Department, Giampiero Nacci. He will deliver some opening remarks and then move into presenting the details of the ANORA. Thanks.
Oops. Thank you. So, Your Excellencies, dear friends and partners, ladies and gentlemen, it's good evening, first of all. It's really a pleasure to be here today with you all and celebrate the launch of ANORA. Let me thank in the first place His Excellency, the Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Uzbekistan and his team for your vision and leadership. You may remember last year, more or less this time, we were in Samarkand having a tea and we discussed the concept and you said, let's do it. So here we are today, really celebrating the start of the continuation of the journey. But also let me acknowledge the contribution of different partners and friends. Also, for example, the National Committee for Ecology and Climate Change, because this has been truly a sort of a participatory process that included several partners and contributors. The launch of ANORA comes at a crucial time, ahead of the 3 Rio Convention COPs, the combat desertification in Ulaanbaatar in August, the biodiversity COP in Yerevan in October, and of course the climate COP in Antalya. So all in the region, in the broad region. And as the minister rightly said, clearly ANORA kind of keeps connecting all these elements, the 3 challenges of land degradation, biodiversity loss, and of course climate change. But it also builds on a growing awareness in Central Asia about the importance of national initiative and regional cooperation. Central Asian countries, and particularly Uzbekistan, are really showing globally the way to deal with very complex problems. We mentioned, the Samarkand International Climate Forum last year, more recently the Astana Regional Ecological Summit 2 weeks ago, the GEF 8th Annual Assembly again in Samarkand. These show truly leadership and partnership in action. Now, both the ambassador and the minister, well illustrated the issues and the opportunities, but let me dwell a bit more on finance. So if you go to the presentation now. So I like to talk about finance because ANORA is many things, but of course there is a strong focus on finance, mobilizing the finance needed for the agricultural sector to embrace a pathway of sustainability, productivity, and competitiveness. There are three issues that we would like to highlight that are actually affecting the availability of finance in this space. The first one is the fact that the damages associated to climate change are growing very significantly. The most recent estimate, there is growing evidence, growing information and data, shows that globally, the damages associated to the effects of droughts, flooding, and storms are in the range of $100 billion annually, and 50% of this is in Asia, in fact. This is equivalent to 4% of the GDP of the sector, so very material and growing. In addition, there is a strong link to food security. This is more or less equivalent to over 300 kilocalories per capita per day. So it's about 15% of the daily calories intake. So this link between what we're trying to do with ANORA and food security is very, very strong. The second element I would like to highlight is about food subsidies, or let's say subsidies in the agricultural sector. They're about $1 trillion a year. And some of them are very much needed to support different categories, but some may generate also a distortive effect. And only 13% of these funds are used for innovation and supporting infrastructure, another pillar of ANORA here. And then the last point is about this information that you see on the slides. You can see, don't necessarily look at the numbers, but read the order of magnitude. What is needed to keep the agricultural and food sector in line with the objective of the Paris Agreement, in line with the biodiversity loss objective the world has, we need roughly $1 trillion a year globally. At the moment, what is provided by the global financial system, including the multilateral development banks, which, by the way, provide at the moment still a very, very big proportion of that, is about 100 million. So there is a disproportion of 1 to 10, very significant. And crucially, these represent only 7% of the global climate finance flows, despite the fact that the agricultural sector is responsible for about 1/3 of the global greenhouse gas emissions. So this disproportion is really what is affecting the further growth of the sector along lines of sustainability and climate responsibility, but also, of course, with strong connections with competitiveness and economic resilience. Next slide. Now, talking about ANORA, what is important to highlight, and I guess the minister also made mention about it, it builds on a very strong policy and institutional framework. This is not just something that came out of the blue. It really builds on the strong leadership and vision of the country. The process started, well a few years ago with, of course, the first NDC submission back in 2017, the ratification of the Paris Agreement in 2018, but then with a lot of sectoral strategy, another milestone, right? So again, there is a strong policy framework, and now it's time to move from sectoral strategies to high-level policy and targets into actual implementation. And again, this is what ANORA is about. The importance of this framework and these connections, between energy, food, infrastructure, climate policy, is not just about ticking policy boxes or it's about fulfilling political obligations. It's really about aligning the interests of multiple stakeholders, public, private, the civil society. It's about providing consistent long-term policy signals that ultimately provide comfort to project developers and investors, but also provide, let's say, the type of risk allocation that the investors community, the financial sectors wants to see. As mentioned in the previous panel, Sangha was mentioned the panel before, there was a very clear call for the opportunities this country offers. Uzbekistan is ready for business and is certainly the place to invest. Next slide. Now let's come to a bit the objectives of ANORA. So in the first place, it's the key objective here is to provide finance at scale in an accelerated manner to really try to address chronic issues associated with the agriculture and food sector in the country, but also offering economic economic growth opportunities to the country, and again, strengthening economic resilience and the competitiveness of the sector. So here are a few of the numbers, that basically characterize the key objectives. We are talking about $1.5 billion investment up to 2030. We're talking about a very substantial amount of land converted to sustainable farming practices. We're talking about a significant greenhouse gas emission reduction, so a very significant contribution to the country overall carbon footprint, but also addressing the critical issues of water productivity and land productivity, which, as Ambassador mentioned just a few minutes back, are affecting the overall profitability of the sector. Next slide. Now, I don't want to go too much into details, but ANORA is a truly example of a country-led initiative. When we talk about country, it's the government, of course, in the first place, but it's also all the components. It's the farmer, it's the project developers, it's the technology providers, and of course, crucially, the financial sector. So we are working, supporting the ministry with providing the support and the capacity. Capacity building is an important objective of ANORA in order to set up a governance structure that can help mobilizing the funding at scale and rapidly with limited administrative cost, but also looking at three fundamental pillars here. One is, of course, finance, as we mentioned. It's not only local finance, it's also opening to international investors, opening to the concessional and development finance sector. It's about the policy and regulation. One of the intentions is to create an interface between the project developers, the financial sector, and the government to identify what are the type of regulation standards that needs to be addressed in order to unlock additional investments. And of course, it's also about enabling infrastructure. It's about the physical infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, which are needed to address the productivity gap. So it's about alignment of interest between different stakeholders. It's about policy predictability, but it's also about access to information about investment opportunities. And we've seen in other countries where these type of platforms have been already active, that there is always a strong link to FDIs. So that's a bit the objective and the hope. Having said so, this is probably one of the first integrated agri and food country platform in the world. So again, credit to the leadership and vision of the government. And we're very happy and honored to be supporting these efforts. Next slide. So I'm not going to tell you about everything here, just to say this has been a long process, right? A long process, as the minister just mentioned, entailed a lot of conversation, developing the concept together, trying to identify the clear targets and the clear steps needed, entailed substantial consultation with different parties and stakeholders, including, of course, the partners outreach. And now we are at the stage where, it's the celebratory moment of launching the platform and looking forward in involving other partners, including for providing the necessary technical assistance and concessional instruments. Now, you may ask, or let's say, wonder, why ANORA? What does it mean? It's an acronym you've seen at the beginning. Well, you may know that, it comes from the word anor, which is the pomegranate, so a fruit symbol of Uzbekistan. It's a fruit that means prosperity, abundance, and fertility. But also, I discovered, has roots in Latin. It means honor, dignity. So the combination of these two aspects is what we want to try to achieve. So it's about speaking to local farmers, including the, as you can see, is a female name. We want also to honor the role of women in the agricultural sector, but also to the international investors. So today is a day of celebration, but we need to start working from tomorrow and really working on implementation and making it a success. Of course, after the panel. Having said that, thank you very much, and I wish you a very good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giampiero, for your excellent presentation. We will now be moving into our panel session. I would like to invite our distinguished panelists onto the stage. Minister, unfortunately, will have to run, but we have our Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Alisher Shukurov. I'll ask him onto the stage. Dr. Kanokpan Lao Araya, the Country Director of ADB Resin Mission in Uzbekistan. Mr. Jacopo Monzini from FAO. Mr. Dadkan Timur Ali Extrafos, and Ms. Orsolia Eckler, SQB. So let's start our discussion. We will have opportunity to also ask a couple of questions from the audience later. But just to kick start, I'll turn to our Deputy Minister with kind of the first question. So ANORA is designed as a country-led investment platform. So in your view, how can it effectively translate Uzbekistan's policy priorities and climate commitments into a coordinated, bankable pipeline of agri-food investment at scale?
Thank you. Thanks so much. So, first of all, I would like to thank, on behalf of the Minister of Agriculture, for all participants who gathered here, and also I would like to thank the speakers, previous speakers, very clearly gave us the information about the ANORA and the philosophy behind the ANORA, how this philosophy came now to the real actionable program. So in our view, for your question, we have set a few years back in 2019, similarly in such a situation, audience invited our partners from international development partners, international financial institutions, as well as national institutions and the private sector to design our agri-food development strategy. So our strategy now, it is not just a approved document, but it's living process. And we have already set 9 priorities in the agri-food, in the agri-food sector. And in our view, we would like to see our strategy works on the ground. Really, the sector, producers, farmers, private sector, as our minister mentioned, we are really now working on the market-oriented agriculture, as well as now we are advocating the human-centric. So we would like to see our strategy implements on the ground. So first, our understanding is that this strategy, with the support of ANORA, we would like to see to transform it on the ground to support the sector, to frame it how it really can work on the ground. And the second, we need, in order to implement the project, and I would like to thank the colleagues from the EBRD, that, of course, we can integrate ANORA with a lot of ideas, a lot of proposals, a lot of initiatives. But here, the central focus of ANORA is the financing. So it means that we need our strategies with the financing. So for the financing, we need bankable projects, as you colleagues highlighted and also in your introduction as well. So for the bankable projects, we need to really frame these projects together. So it cannot work only standalone with the Ministry of Agriculture or responsible agency or ministry. So we should work together. So when we speak about the together, it means that now the last point I would like to highlight, this is the coordination. And if we would like to see the ANORA real living platform, that it means that we need a partnership, that all partners from government institutions, from the private sector, from the research, academia, today we have also a number of research institutions are here, private sector. Without private sector, ANORA cannot really, we cannot feel that ANORA is the real, the platform. That's why the third element I would like to highlight that the coordination, and in this mechanism, we would like to see all partners together. So this is the kind of initial response from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, for those very insightful remarks, and just want to thank once again for your leadership so far. So let me then turn to Jacobo I mean, we've worked together in supporting the government of Uzbekistan on developing the preceding policy work, the NDC implementation roadmap for agri-food sector, which very much informed the development and design of the country platform. So from FAO Investment Center perspective, and building upon what's just been mentioned, how can the platform best support the prioritization of key enabling conditions to foster a predictable investment environment and unlock larger flows of green finance? By the way, if you can be close to the mic, because for those in the back, it may not be so clear.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it was a long journey, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you very much to the government of Uzbekistan for having us. I think the most important element is that it allows to move from a project approach to a process approach. And by doing that, it allows to really look into what are the priority actions that are, yes, indeed, what is the best bankable project, but also what is required to make this project bankable. In many cases, we have great ideas. We see from other countries, from the region or abroad, like potential investments. But then we need to see how much this investment is feasible before being bankable. And of course, the feasibility being part of being bankable. And this includes the policy environment. It includes the human capital environment. Our Deputy Minister was referring to the academia. And let me stress how relevant was also to involve the academia along the process, because it really allows you to understand if the human capital as basic enabling condition is present, and therefore also redirecting part of investments in ensuring that the human capital needed for the agri-food system to transform and for the private sector to really dispose of the human resources to then execute innovative approaches and investments. And you were mentioning policy, and this again, it's exactly the same. By not looking at it as a project but as a process, it allows also to really like pinpoint the policy elements that needs to be addressed and how these could be addressed within the context, within, as again rightfully mentioned, the national strategic framework, how these policies can be supported and then developed. And this allows to really build the enabling environment for investments and for a true transformation of the agri-food system. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Jacopo. So I will now turn to Dr. Kanopan Alau Araya. Let me turn to ADB first. Sorry about that. Our fellow MDB, ADB, from your perspective, how can development finance be deployed through the ANORA platform to help move these reforms from concept to implementation at scale?
Thank you very much for inviting ADB to participate in this important platform. First of all, I'd like to congratulate EBRD and Ministry of Agriculture for the launch of ANORA. In my view, ANORA is very important for several reasons. And then, as you said, answering your question of how to move it to implementation, because number one, it is a coordination platform that ANORA can take the coordination role to ensure that development financing is aligned with the national priorities. And it is set up with a very good start, as Minister has already confirmed about all the way, the close consultation and closely aligned with national priorities. And with this platform, we can avoid duplication and maximize synergies among the development partners. ANORA Secretariat can facilitate regular meetings among the partners and share the success story and solution that can be replicated and scale up. With this platform, we can also take advantage of digitalization and technology, highly desirable function would be developed to share, for example, like geo-digital platform, so accessible for all partners so that we can map ongoing and planned projects. This is also to reinforce what I said earlier, to avoid duplication and more synergy. And then also many previous speaker and also minister also mentioned that it is very important to have private sector involvement. ANORA is, I'm very pleased to see that ANORA intend to cover both private sector and investment and sovereign projects. From ADB side, we have operation in both, and we can leverage both to involve, in terms of private sovereign side, we also have a policy-based program that would address the regulatory framework, the gap. Yes, not just technical assistance, but we have backup carrots, big money to go to the budget when the policy has been accomplished, reform has been accomplished. So those are good. But at the same time, I want to add 2 points. To be successful, I would like to offer 2 considerations for future success. Number 1 is we have to learn from the past experience. There are already existing platform in the country. There's a country platform that donor has coordinated, and we have several working groups that coordinate on various issues related to interest under ANORA, so we have to work together with that, with existing platform. And lastly, government ownership. It is very good that now with EBRD and the Secretariat we initiate and get it going, but in the long run, this function will, I can see that sustainably will be transferred to the government. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those insightful remarks. I mean, very important points about making sure that we learn from the lessons of the past and, really leverage on existing initiatives, as well as, thinking about long-term sustainability. Looking forward to continue to work closely with ADB on this. So now let me turn to SQB. I'd like to invite Ms. Orsolya Ikler to share her perspective. So, as agri-food investment under ANORA move towards implementation, how does SQB approach financing these agri-food projects across the value chain, and what determines its readiness to commit capital?
Thank you for your question. So when EBRD was asking for a female speaker, I thought I should share some recipes with you, but it is not the case today, unfortunately, maybe next time. So SQB is not just financing project. We are supporting the development projects that creates long-term value for the country, for Uzbekistan. As always, we have 3 key principles to commit capital. So it should be bankability. It should show bankability. We should take care of the risks and sustainability. So concerning bankability, we should be sure that there is a sustainable cash flow. The project is commercially viable. We are reviewing the business model of the project, the management capacity, and also the market demand, sure. So it means we should be sure that there will be at the end a financial and operational success. Concerning sustainability, our bank is a green bank. It means a significant portion of our portfolio are green projects. So therefore, projects which show improvement of productivity, efficiency in resource management, food security, they are aligned with our strategic goals. Risk management, it is always a critical area, so we should assess all kinds of risks, operational, environmental, market, and so on and so forth. And in that, there is a big support, or it can help us if we are aware that there is a strong governance on the project side, that we have reliable sponsors. So it naturally can attract the financing. So therefore, ANORA is very helpful for us. So we are hoping on a transparency. So also that you are strengthening the project preparation and helping us connect the main stakeholders, investors, financial institutions, and sure project developers. So therefore, we are ready to commit capital if the project is ready to attract capital. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Definitely looking forward to further collaboration. So we've been talking a lot about the private sector. So let me turn to Mr. Dadkhan Timurali. You're from Extrafos. From the perspective of a private investor, what are the key risks or barriers that could limit engagement with ANORA, and what concrete incentives or reforms are needed to make the platform investable at scale?
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank all the participants for being here, and the EBRD first of all, and the Ministry of the Agriculture as a part of all the processes going on here now. And as a part of the agricultural sector, the supplier of some kind of products for the farmers directly to the land, from the top to the down, doesn't matter. The main risk, as we see, working with the farmers from whatever the level they could be, is that the main challenge is not the bringing the finance itself directly to the farmers, but maybe and the capital to the farmers, but maybe bringing the understandability of the farmers to the capital. So the farmers should be more understandable for the capital, first of all. And the main problem, as we see from our perspective, could be that there is no, as for now, as we don't know, there is no programs or the platforms for the, let's say, for the banks or from the banks for scoring the farmers directly. For the farmers from the bottom, I mean. So the main problem could be that the farmers would not understand of the process of the ANORA overall, I mean. So the main goal, as from my side, could be to teach the farmers, to explain to the farmers what ANORA is, what it's capable of, what kind of the finance or the capital it can bring, and first of all, bring the farmers to the banks, let's say that way. Explain to the banks what kind of the level of understanding should be done, or the explaining should be done to the farmer, so it could be interesting to them to come to the banks. So that's the main problem, and the main risk could be that the farmers sometimes cannot understand what they're doing, but that's our main goal, and we have to work on that. And the ANORA itself is first, on my perspective, the first program that can and should do that, and able to do that. So probably with the help of the EBRD, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the private sector, and we as a presenters of the private sector are ready to help both of the sides, either the banks, either the Ministry of Agriculture, it doesn't matter. So the data, the transparency, and the availability for the farmers would be the first step should be done at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much for very helpful remarks, and we'll certainly take into consideration as to what type in fact, actually, you point an important part about communications. It's understanding, but it's also about sharing the language and understanding, the common vision in the process. So thank you for those remarks. So we have time for a very quick final round. So I will kind of share one question for all the panelists to respond to. If you can keep it to a minute, that would be great. So the question is, what is the single most important contribution your institution or sector can make to help ANORA deliver investable projects over the next 12 to 24 months? I will give the floor first to the Deputy Minister.
Thank you. Maybe for me it will be difficult to give one single message, but I believe a set of actions needed to operationalize the ANORA in the coming 12 to 24 months is, first of all, we see now great ownership, great interest. This is great. But now we should move for the next level. It means that I believe that we should start selecting the high impact, demonstratable, real pipeline, real activities, and to start around this activity, the institutional as well as the capacity, because we need to start the implementation. Still, as my colleague mentioned, that now we have the understanding, we have the appetite, let's do it, but we don't know how to do it. So it means that we should start with the selected projects. So, and these projects should not be standalone projects, but as our colleagues mentioned, it should be kind of programmatic to handle to see the issues farmers facing, to see the issues our sector is facing, and to see this problem as a holistic approach. So I think this can help to start the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Jacopo, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I think what ANORA proposes is extraordinary, but builds on something that FAO has almost 80 years of experience, 20 years of experience in country. We have demonstrated with the roadmap. And I think what is very important is that we can compare and support by benchmarking against more than 130 countries that are facing similar issues and similar problems. So I think our major contribution would be really in immediately identifying the lesson learned and making sure that the new process does not go back and reinvent the wheel or gets into very common mistakes or underestimation of the issues.
Thank you very much, Jacopo. And there was a lot of emphasis on transparency and data, and I can expect FAO to also play a big role in that area.
Absolutely.
As
I think the FAO database is the largest on earth on agriculture. So, and just one last point. In many of the previous sessions, panels, presentation, FAO as a source was the most common one. So this is probably the most important element. Thank you for remarking it.
Thank you. I sense the institutional pride there. So, Dr. Lau Araya, would you like to share your response?
Yeah, thank you very much. For IDB, your question is next 12 to 24 months. We have very clear, we just have annual meeting in Samarkand a month ago. We signed a very big package and supported by Office of Presidential, and we work together with the government. And of course, all this in our pipeline now, we have ANORA. We can collaborate, make sure that we can give leverage to ANORA. Like I mentioned before, we have many in our toolbox. We have budget support, so we can identify, understand from ANORA platform also what else is the gap that we need to do. And we have the track record that we helped the government in the past through our technical assistance, which is grant from ADB. And we also tap other grant, for example, from Global Environment Facility, Glaciers to Farm. We also have grant to support project. So all of this is a huge resources that AB already has committed with the government. But of course, this can be adjusted now that we have ANORA. We can look at our pipeline again and look at partnership clearly about how to support. I know that one of the pillars we discussed before is on land degradation. In ADB, we already have worked on this, on technical assistance with some local institution in Kalakau, Pakistan, and we can expand that. We also have very good presence on regional cooperation. We help in terms of SPS, so that we can help with exporting of the agriculture product. That's just, for example, overall of ADB operation that we are excited to partner with this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot lined up. I'm going to be very busy the next 12 to 24 months. So, Ms. Eckler, yes, would you like to share your response? Yeah.
So as a bank from early stage, we can provide financial expertise, risk assessment, and also clear financing pathway for the ANORA project.
Thank you. Very important part to make investable, pipeline of projects. So thank you for that. And I'll turn to Mr. Timur Ali.
Let's say in shorter 12, 24 months, we as a private sector ready to help either the institutions or the government sector to be the middle guy between the institutions and the farmers on the land in giving and providing the data from the land to the top and from the top to the land. That's the main goal as I see we can do as for now. And regarding the projects and the visions or the programs should be done, we as a private sector, we have to work and deal with the farmers on the land, and we have such a projects or the visions or the main pains that could be brought from the bottom to the top. So in this case, we are ready to be the middle guys to show the pains and show how to solve that pains to the farmers. So that could be, I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there's going to be a lot of activity in the next 12 to 24 months. I promised that we will have rounds of questions from the audience, so I hope you were thinking. I don't know if there's a rotating mic. Yes, please. Maybe, is there a microphone? Would you like to come to the podium? Or why don't you come to the podium and ask your question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Good evening.
So my name is Umar Sheikhov. I am the chairman of the Food Industry Association of Uzbekistan. If you allow me, I will speak in Russia because I will be a little bit nervous.
Thank you very much for opportunity to share, and I'm very flattered and pleased to be here. Thanks a lot to EBRD, our ministry, for such an important interaction. I would like to express, it's rather not a question, it's a statement of a willingness to participate. And in a nutshell, Uzbekistan is rapidly developing with God's help. GDP is related to PPS is quite high, and it's great. However, rural sector is facing a lot of challenges. 4 million people are very actively working in this sector, and they're very closely interrelated. And therefore, we need to make impact as quick as possible. As I've already outlined our problem, and they are as follows: degradation of land, approximately 50% of our irrigated land; water supply, approximately 60%, 33% of water resources are used efficiently, it means 18 to 20 cubic meters a year of losses. And besides, another acute problem is energy resources, which we take 78% we take from our natural gas resources, and they are gradually depleting. And therefore, I would like to have projects focused on those very important directions. Jointly with the FAO, we discussed a lot of issues, and we were closely cooperating with various farmers associations. We worked with farmers who would like to have this project implemented as quick as possible. And now, as far as I understand, the project is officially opened. It has been officially launched. However, I would like to request all our association members to accelerate and expedite the work in this area. Thank you very much indeed.
To the audience that does not speak Russian, the speaker just mentioned the vast issues in the sector. Despite the fact that the sector is developing in a fast pace, there are still issues related to land degradation, water efficiency, and there is a significant number of people employed in the sector, and they depend on the agricultural production. And the farmers, the members of the food association that he represents, are eagerly waiting for a program like this and its fast implementation on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you for that intervention and sharing your thoughts. I am just looking into the audience. Do we have any other questions for the panelists? Yes. There's a microphone. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Sean, and I'm coming from Missouri, United States. And I was a professor at the University of Missouri, and I received federal grant to do innovative technology development for a new agriculture. So we recently developed like a co-production system, which can generate animal protein and solar electricity. So we are very confident we can build up like a very good, rural infrastructure in a larger scale. But my question is, before we really, scale up to a larger scale, I really need maybe a 6 months to 12 months of tech preparation and also minimal, the future project risk. So, but that to research grant is too big. To a conventional bank, that's too early. So I just wondering, for those, the developing bank, if you would be, possibly allow a small technical company a period of tech preparation. So that's my question.
Thank you for that question. And I think, this is already showing the power of ANORA in the sense that, you know kind of where to come with your questions, and you have a range of partners who can potentially respond to. I think it'll be good to see, I guess we'll need to see the details, because development banks have a range of financial products, and the way we can respond will be different depending on the project. But certainly we'll be happy to further discuss, with our financial partners here, and we also hope to have more partners on the platform. So yes, thank you. All right, anyone from the panel want to respond to the interventions?
Yeah, I think this is the example. This is a clear example that there are a lot of partners, academia, universities. They have great ideas and innovations are there. And the thing is that to finance these ideas, to support these ideas, finance also available. But now the thing is that through such an ANORA platform, we should bring these ideas, partners together, and to sit together with our partners where we have the resources and where is our capacity to support these ideas. So from the Ministry of Agriculture perspective, we would be really happy to discuss the proposal and to start. This can be the first ideas for the ANORA, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to react? No? All right. Well, then, on that note, I would like to just, give a round of applause to our panelists and for the excellent discussion that we have. We also will have also I mentioned at the beginning that we'll be also signing a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with the partners, just to also initiate the partnership a bit more formally. So we'll have that ceremony here on the stage. I also want to, Anvar just featured very briefly in his interpretation, but I just want to thank Anvar Nasri Diranov and Aroda Isfandin Yorova. Sorry, I'm stumbling on your last name, but we have many colleagues behind the scenes who've really kind of made a really big contribution in bringing ANORA to this stage, and also been working really hard behind the scenes to get this event, and will be contributing further. So I just want to really thank them for their contribution behind the scenes. All right. So on that note, yes. So we have panelists. You may return to your seats, and I would ask perhaps the Deputy Minister just stay, and then I will invite Giampiero Nacci from the EBRD, our Managing Director, and then Stella Songyeon Lee from the country representative of GGGI in Uzbekistan to join the partnership signing ceremony. Thank you. Congratulations to everyone. So my job as the moderator is done for today. So as this is a country-led initiative, I would like to give the last words to our Deputy Minister just to close the session off. Thank you.
So thanks so much for your patience. Of course, before the session, we had a long session, and we understood that this is the real example that we have interest now, we have commitment, we have ownership, and I would like to thank on behalf of our minister for all our partners, EBRD, FAO, and also we have now already partnered with us, the Global Environmental Facility, supporting this process, and also we have now GGGI. So also our national partners here today. I would like to thank all of you for your support and for your partnership. And next time we would like to
look forward with the exact real programs on the ground. Thanks so much, all of you.